on, Malik? How are you, man?
Man, I'm real good. How about you?
Very good. I appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, of course. I'm excited. I'm
Cool.
really excited.
Yeah. So our podcast is about your journey in music and how you got to where you are today.
Fire.
Yes,
Fire.
sir.
I'm with it. Love
Cool,
it.
cool. Yeah. Well, whereabouts did you grow up?
North Austin, Texas.
North Austin, Texas. You were born and raised there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tell me about that a little bit.
Man, so I grew up in like suburbs of Austin, and it definitely shaped my like taste in music, and then also just the things
Mhm.
I was into, because it's such a melting pot of so many different things. Um, which I feel like comes across in my art for sure.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, beautiful city, a little hot sometimes, but you
Yeah.
know, we
Big music
make
scene out there too.
absolutely,
Yeah. Were you
definitely.
able to like go to a lot of shows and stuff growing up?
Yeah, I remember like getting off of work during like South by week and just walking up and down 6th Street. And I remember one time
Whoa.
I was walking into Waterloo, and Earl's sweatshirt almost ran me over with his skateboard as I like walked around the corner. It was so funny.
Oh
But
my gosh.
yeah, definitely a
That's
lot of
cool. So
shows.
like with South by or Austin City Limits and stuff like that, like were you kind of close to that, or could you, or was that, I don't know, really know where they do much of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, all that's downtown. So I mean, it's just a little 20-minute drive
Oh, right
into
on.
the city.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. Can you like, if you were on the outskirts, can you kind of hang and see and hear stuff, or no? You have to
Oh
like,
yeah. I mean, it shows left and right everywhere. And it's so many people. People hop fences. People find ways to
sure.
to get into stuff for sure.
That's rad. Right on, dude. Oh, well, how did you get into music? I mean, obviously Austin's a big music city, but what drew you
Yeah,
in there?
my parents they've I mean, big music lovers, and they're both writers. They both like have done music a hobby. But for me, they never really like, I wouldn't say directly like, hey, you should do music, or like you should do this. I was walking around Walmart with my mom. I might have been like 10 or 11, and it's around Christmas time, so we're like shopping for potential Christmas gifts. And I saw this like red electric guitar. I'm like, yo, I want a guitar for Christmas, yo, just because it just looked cool.
Sure.
And she ended up getting me a little acoustic guitar, and like got me lessons. And as soon as I started lessons, I was like, yep, this is what I need to be doing. Absolutely. And it grew from there. Yeah.
So acoustic guitar your first instrument.
Yeah. Hmm.
Very cool. And you were writing
I
right
would
away.
second after pots and pans in the
Oh,
kitchen.
sure. Or maybe the
But
recorder when you were
yeah,
like in third or fourth grade.
there we go. There we go. I was definitely multifaceted in my instrument playing. But yeah, was started writing from there.
Did you start like a band, or are you doing like singer-songwriter stuff?
Man, funny enough, I had put together like a 4-man rap group with some of the kids on my block,
Oh,
on my
really?
street, when I was super young. Yeah, man, memories. um, I remember I had this old computer, and we only had one mic. So whenever we all needed to like rap something, I would rap my line, and then
Hand
I'd
it
hand the
over.
mic over, and then they would rap their line. And like, all right, that's the hook. All right, perfect. But outside of, I think that might have lasted one summer. Um, and then from there, I was like, I just enjoy producing and writing my own stuff.
Mm.
And just kind of you know, uh, grew into I guess everything I am right now.
Yeah. Wow. So did you just start writing songs? Were you playing out like open mic nights, or like were you just producing and writing like more hip hop stuff?
Yeah, it was definitely more hip hop stuff. I didn't really perform a lot in like my middle school, high school years, just because like I knew whenever I did a show, I wanted to have a project that like would then warrant an audience. Like I wasn't really into just doing an open mic just to do it. Because I want people to know my music. And I think there's like multiple ways to garner a fan base, and obviously that is a route. I think for me, man, actually I remember watching this this John Bellion documentary. And he had talked about how he put out his first few mixtapes without like doing any type of live show.
Mm-hmm.
And he like said somewhere, so yo, whenever I do a show or whenever I perform, I want the crowd to be full of people who know my lyrics, and I'm not gonna do a show until I have garnered the fan base to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yo, I think that method really resonated with me just for like what I want to do and the purpose of touring. I think maybe if I grew up and had more of a like put together like show, that would be, I would have taken a different route. But I think coming from being a producer, like, man, I really love the process of making music so much. I would much rather, let me get this right, and let me like get people this way, and then let the show be an extension of that.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, totally. Yeah, like grab the, like you said, don't perform. You're like, you don't really need to perform out until everybody knows the songs. Any like have everybody just stay
Yeah,
in the lane as far as like getting people to know the music outside of
for
the
sure.
live set.
And it's a balance too, because I've seen, and maybe another reason I've taken that route is because there's a ton of artists that I know who are like incredible performers, but like their recorded music isn't up to their like performance ability. So
Sure.
you want to make sure you're like balanced where, all right, your recorded music isn't outshining your show, but your show also isn't outperforming your
Your
recorded
recorded
music.
stuff.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
there's a little fine line there for sure.
for sure, for sure. And you know, it's just whatever you want to do at this point. It's, you know,
Right. And then so you
there's no
started
saying.
producing, and then are you still in Texas now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to talk.
For
I want.
now,
How did you get to like, working on like you helped work on a song for Ariana Grande? Like, how did that all kind of happen? Like, was that years later? Like, tell me about the journey to that
Yeah.
point.
So it started off, I was putting out an early version of Spectrum. And it started to get picked up by a few blogs, and like Pictures and Planes had like picked up one of the songs, and then kind of, I guess, got my name somewhat in the industry somehow. I don't know like the extent of that, but it did have people like reaching out about potential publishing, record deals, whatever. And one of the people who reached out was this label Since the 80s, who managed JID and Earthgang. So they were like, yo, we love your stuff. We'd love to like fly you out to LA to come work with us, meet everybody, and see where things go. So when I flew out there, that's when I first met Cole. That's when I first met JID, Earthgang, Yomza, several other people. And we kind of started that working relationship. And one day they sat me down. They were like, yo, so like, what do you want to do? Like, what direction are you trying to go as a producer? And I'm like, I want to take the Kanye West approach, as far as I think my production is an easier sell and a way to get your foot in the door, to then provide the platform for me to release my solo music. And at that point, everything I had done was kind of like hip hop, alt R&B world. I'm like, yo, I want to learn pop, because this is a world that I don't know, and I think would be really valuable for me to like figure out. So they're like, well, Tommy Brown, he does Ariana Grande. I'm like, oh shoot. So I ended up staying with him for a few months while Ariana Grande was working on Sweetener, and she would come to the house every so often and record, and that's how I got that first Ariana placement.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then that record was up for a Grammy and everything.
Yeah, it won, and I got like a little Grammy certificate, like participation thing, which was really crazy. It's like, this is my first placement ever. Like, it's kind of kind of
Yeah,
wild, you
that's
know.
crazy. Did you get to go to the Grammys and everything?
Nah, I didn't go. I didn't go. But the certificate was enough. I'm like, whenever I do go, it's gonna be when I'm accepting my album of the year award for
Sure.
sure.
Wow. Okay, so you got to work on a song that went on the Sweetener record.
Hmm.
That's awesome. And then
Yep,
from
yep.
there, did the doors open for you? Were you able to work with other artists now that you have that credit?
I mean, absolutely, absolutely. I just kind of, it's like, I mean, it's almost like a verified check, you know, as far as like,
Right.
oh wow, you've done Ariana. Well, then come work with
Mhm.
us and come do this.
Yeah.
But throughout that process, that's when I met No ID, which led to me being signed to him, which was like dream come true. I mean, you know, being a big Kanye fan, it's like,
Yeah.
man, you know, someone who mentored him and mentored Cole and so many people is now like mentoring me, which is such a beautiful thing. But
Yeah. And
yeah,
that
and
relationship formed due to the Ariana Grande song?
no,
Oh,
actually I was in the studio with Jid. He had a session with No ID, and there was like a break within the studio session, and they're like, "Hell, you should play some music for No ID, see what he thinks." And I played Orange first, and he was like, "Yo, this is really dope. We should figure something out." Then we reconnected at the Dreamville sessions. And T told me that was confirmation that we should have been working together. Just the way we were like going back and forth with production and ideas. Yeah, and that's when we really built our personal like relationship when I was working out of his studio, and just the just the insight he was able to give me, not only as an artist or producer, but just as a person, kind of like trying to better myself and put myself in an environment that will like help me cultivate all of the I don't know, all the influences and all the like ideas and dreams that I have. And he was like, yo, I have the resources. I just want to help. And yeah, he's been very consistent with that, which has, you know, been amazing.
that's awesome. And they're putting out your record, or they put out your
Hmm.
record, the Spectrum demo?
Yep, yep.
Well,
Yes,
tell me
sir.
about that. I love the merch you made. I'll talk to you about that. The game cartridge is so dope.
Oh man,
But
thanks, bro.
I wanna hear about
Thank
the
you.
music first.
Yeah, so the original idea came from I was driving home from work one day, and it was like around like twilight. So you're seeing like the color spectrum across the sky. I'm like, man,
Okay,
that's
sure.
really that's really beautiful. So I like took a photo of it. I wrote down the word spectrum. I was like, all right, that's gonna be something one day. So when I actually got around to starting on that project, I wanted to. I don't know. I was in a place where I felt really lost, and I needed a way to just make music without it needing to be super like conceptual or super like narrative driven, because like that's how I like to make projects. Like I really love concept albums and I love to like tell stories. Um, but I was in a place where I just need to feel as free as possible. So I'm like, I'm gonna make a song, I'm gonna write, record whatever I feel, and then the only concept will be whatever like color I feel like the song represents. That's the name I'm gonna give it, and and let it exist in that world.
Mhm. So
And that's
that's
kind of how I, yeah.
so in if you listen to the record in full, it's not a concept album, just the theme of it's a concept album?
It actually became a concept album in the later stages, because I had basically had an early version of it done probably like a year ago, and
Oh.
just through like delays and just a lot of stuff, I wasn't able to put it out. So
Mhm.
I kept working on it and I kept refining it. I'm like, oh shoot, there actually is like a narrative here. So I kind of started to hone in on the songwriting a bit and change production around. And then it actually does now tell a story. It isn't quite as um, like specific in the way I would usually tell a story. It's definitely like an emotional story
Mhm.
versus this happened and then this happened and then this happened. Um, but yeah, I would definitely say it's a concept album at this point. it's an abstract one though.
Sure. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
because each song is a different, color on the spectrum. And did you how did you decide on which song was which color? If that makes sense.
Honestly, it kind of just felt like it. So like red obviously sounds angry. It
Sure.
sounds really aggressive. So red made sense. Orange to me felt like sunrise or sunset, something that felt very peaceful, very hopeful, and that's what orange means to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yellow is just full on sun, which to me represents love, and that's like a song that represents me trying to reconnect with love in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Then green, I kind of took the fast paced and the like almost feels like a sugar rush of green meaning go, and then blue being the opposite of that, where it's like after the rush you get the crash, and blue was very like calm, kind of like crushing almost. Indigo, which is me finally like taking everything I've learned through the journey of emotion to now like pick myself back up, which leads into violet, which is like royalty for me, and like realizing, like I'm really like made to be like to carry myself in this way as like a strong leader essentially. And that's what that color kind of represents. And then white is all the colors put together of like, all right, it's an overview of, all right, this is everything that I've been through, and we're all on different places in our own emotional spectrum,
Yeah.
spectrum of life. And it's okay to be anywhere on this, as long as you're aware of where you're at, and then you're able to take that and move forward.
I love it. That's such a cool concept, and I love that. I didn't even think of it that way, as far as like the colors representing certain emotions and
Yeah,
feelings.
yeah.
That's cool. That's really
Thank
cool.
you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I love your merch. I love the Nintendo 64 game cartridge. How did you come up with that idea?
Man, so I had the video game sci-fi concept for a while, and because the original cover was actually like a TV
Mm-hmm.
with the like start screen of
Oh,
Spectrum, the video game. So to me, I'm like, this is a demo of the universe that I'm creating with my art. So
okay.
what's a cool way to represent a demo? Well, like a demo version of like an arcade game or something.
Yeah.
Um, so then that's what led to the t-shirts. And then I'm like, yo, man, it would be really cool if I just did a cartridge that you could then, have as your own little like collector's item.
Yeah.
For the people who really, really want to be, really immersed into the universe, which is kind of a hint towards some things that I want to do in the future that I'm putting together. But yeah, that's kind of where that came from.
I love it, man. Like, it's already sold out on your website. Like, it says, it's funny that you have to put like, this is not the real game. Like, this is not a
Just in
game.
case, I don't want
Right.
to, no false advertising.
Right. I love it. I love how it looks like so legit. Like, it's total, like a game.
Thank you, man.
It's cool. It's really cool. What a
Yeah,
cool
no, I
concept.
definitely, when I saw, I was like, oh, this is like, yeah, this is what I would want if I were a fan of Malik. Like, this is the type of merch I would want. I would put it on my dresser, put it in my Nintendo, my 64 for fun.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah.
That's such a cool concept, dude. It's awesome. And
Thank you, man.
with this record, I mean, you said you don't really perform a whole lot, but like, is this something that have you done videos or anything? I know, like, I don't know if you've done like the live stream Instagram things or.
Right. So we're like, okay, we did do some videos
Okay.
that are going to come out soon. We just shot them. We shot them all on film, which was really crazy.
Oh,
And
really?
dope.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So Wes Ellis directed them. He's the guy who did all the covers for the project.
The name sounds
Um,
familiar. Is he worked on other stuff?
yeah, I mean he's been all over my Instagram as far as
Okay, maybe that's where I saw
like,
it.
yeah, almost all the artwork and stuff that's up there is done by him. And then this dude, Nate, Nate York does the 3D modeling that then Wes will take and like edit to look like photos and stuff.
Oh wow.
But yeah, so me and Wes had sat down and put together the concept for all the visuals. We shot them a couple weeks ago, and right now we're working on editing them and yeah, figuring out the rollout here in a bit.
That's awesome. Very cool. Yeah. And you said they're like what is kind of the concept behind them? Can you tell us?
I mean, really just extension of what each song is. We've
Okay.
like created a scene that then encapsulates that moment. And
got it. Is there a visual to go along with every song on the record?
Yes.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah.
That's exciting. That's really awesome. Well, Malik, dude, thank you so much for chatting with me today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I really enjoyed the conversation.
I have one more question though. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Yes. All of your ideas are valid. I found that most creatives are like driven and inspired to work on many mediums, and I can't even tell you exactly why, but once you come out with your art on one medium, people will only see you as that one thing. Mm-hmm. And when you have the spirit of a creator, there's no lines, so don't let people devalue or invalidate your ideas. Like, run with them, go and find the people who believe in them and will of course critique, but ultimately help you reach your goal. Because if people are just there to tell you, oh, you shouldn't do that, or you're trying to do too much, they're probably not meant to be with you on that journey. So I would say go, believe in your ideas, believe in your ideas the most, because if you don't believe in them, why should somebody else believe in them?